Introducing the Poet Life Podcast. Go check it out today on your favorite platforms, including iTunes, Apple Music, and the website, thepoetlife.com.
Find a way, find a way.
Hey, it's Christoph Wrights of the Poet Life Podcast. And on tonight, I am super excited to have a family for the first time on the Poet Life Podcast, an artist who is 17. His name is, he's Chris too. Christopher Timothy, aka Prophecy. And he also has his parents on, Jason and Stacy Timothy. I am excited to have you all on. How are you all today? Chris, how are you?
Good. I appreciate you having us. It's a real big honor to be on this podcast. I know we worked together for almost a year now, but it's real cool to be in this seat.
Awesome. Parents, Jason and Stacy, how are you?
We're good. Thank you for having us. We're excited.
Yeah, Christoph, thanks for the opportunity, man. We really appreciate it.
Sure, for sure. I'm really excited because, I mean, look at the picture, right? You have a 17-year-old son and mother and father who, let's get right into it. So Chris, let's just say Prophecy. Prophecy, I'm going to give you your stage name. Prophecy is, again, 17 years old, and he's pursuing a career in poetry and just artistry in general. And how Chris and I came into contact, I think the Poet Life did a calling all poets for, we did several projects with America's Got Talent, Let's Grow Poetry, spoken word movie. And what stood out to me was Prophecy's professionalism, just on point, on time, didn't have to say, Prophecy, please do this, do that. He read the email and he followed through. And sad to say, those who are older than him, I've had to answer questions and ask questions to them to make sure they were on point. But Prophecy, I was just like, okay, is he really 17? Because Jason and Stacy, do you believe that he's beyond his years? That's what I see. It's amazing to me. Have you all gotten that? Have you felt that, or because he lives with you, it's just like that's just who he is?
No, I mean, for me personally, I am amazed at his maturity. Yes. And his dedication to what he's passionate about. Because at 17, I can't say I was passionate about anything. It was senior year and I was just living my best life, wanting to graduate from high school. So for him to be this passionate for, quite some time now, and it's not diminishing. It's only getting stronger. So no, I am amazed every day, with his dedication to getting better and doing more things and being involved. So no, I mean, we have moments where he's the typical teenager. So we see that part too. But when it comes to this part, when it comes to Prophecy, no, that I am in awe of the fact that he's 17. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all that. I think the concept of Prophecy really helped him to focus. So, I would say that if there's an area that I think he is beyond his age, it would be sort of his level of courage. I think. At 17, I think a lot of folks are still trying to figure out, what they feel strongly about, what they're willing to be courageous about.
Sure.
And we started seeing that a few years ago, where he's just willing to step up to the plate, and I know I didn't have that at that age, so I would say. yeah, there's that passion, that drive, and that courage to keep pressing, man.
Sure. Chris, where does it come from, man?
I mean, specifically for Prophecy, it was absolutely the summer with all of the police brutalities that we saw. Specifically, George Floyd was like the breaking point for me. And anytime I've done any interviews or just sat down with any of my friends or people who know what I did, and they ask me, why did you start? It's George Floyd. It was the middle of it all. I mean, the pandemic had just hit a few months earlier. And my eyes have been sort of opened with Ahmaud Arbery, and I think that was February. So I had already had kind of an idea for what was happening in this kind of new age that it looked like we were going towards. And then George Floyd, that tragedy, that murder, this, to put it simply, it just completely changed my perspective on America and where I thought we were with civil rights and police reform. It really just took that mist from in front of me, because before then I was ignorant to the fact that these things were still happening.
Wow.
I was so young when Trayvon Martin was killed that I didn't really understand what his death meant. But George Floyd was kind of in the time of my life where I was really starting to be conscious about these things, and I could fully understand every aspect of what I had saw or what I had seen and what I had witnessed. And it was too much for me to not do anything about. So after that, me and my dad, we went to our first 2 protests downtown in the city, and it was a completely new experience, nothing we had ever done before. And from there, I'm like, I have to do more. So I figured I should use the talents and the skills that I've been trying to harness and grow over my artistic career, and just use it in a way that I felt like I could help people and connect with people. So I wrote my first poem, which was Two Nations. And I spoke about how there's one nation that white people live in and one nation that black people live in. And I was still 17 at the time. So this is all fairly new, everything that I have going on. And it got some pretty good reception. And from there, I was like, this is what I want to do. And I continued to write, and I got into rap, and I started writing verses specifically about these things to try to bridge the gap between music and consciousness and social justice the way that a lot of our big artists do. And I've just been moving ever since.
So you mean to tell me this has been less than a year?
Less than a year that Prophecy has been a thing.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's new information for me. Okay. That's a little too much for me. Good gracious. Okay. All right. So the name Prophecy. Why the name? Why Prophecy?
Well, there's been a few different things that have kind of contributed to it. So back in 10th grade, there was this poem called The Prophet, and I think the writer's name was like Khalil Gibran or something like that. So we were analyzing it in class, and nobody could understand what it meant. It was older poetry, so the language is a little bit different to how we speak now. And I was the only one who was like, yo, this is really simple to understand. This is what this line means. These 4 lines are specifically meant to translate to this. And people just didn't understand how I got to that conclusion. So that poem just kind of stuck with me because it was like a source of pride, and almost like, maybe this poetry thing is something that I should explore a little bit more, because 10th grade was when I was introduced to poetry. So from there, I knew I wanted to start making music and, being creative on a different platform than just being in band. So I was trying to think of names, and I was like, maybe some with like the color blue, because I had blue hair. I was all in that phase. I was like, maybe some with like blue, or Prophet, some. And then one day, I had just woken up, and I had this whole poem in my mind that I had never written, and I just wrote it all in like 15 minutes. And it was all about defining your prophecy and not following someone else's path, but literally writing the path in the future that you will then follow for yourself. So I remember writing a line like, "This is my prophecy. No, I am the prophecy." So I was like, prophecy, I like that. So it stuck with me. And the X, it's kind of a nod to, you know, Malcolm X. Obviously, he rid himself of his last name because he felt that it wasn't his name, it wasn't his heritage. It was obviously a name that was derived from slavery whenever his ancestors got there. Little was not his, so he dropped it and he put X to signify the unknown. So I put X where the O was, and now this spelling of prophecy, this name, this meaning is what I embody.
Man, I was not talking like you're talking right now at 17. Seriously, I'm just flabbergasted right now, and I'm impressed. So you're a senior right now, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So 10th grade is where you had a poetry class.
It was British lit, but like every English class, there's always like those 2-3 weeks that they're like, we're gonna look at some poetry. So in 11th grade, it was Shakespeare. Hated it, first of all. But
Right.
10th grade, it was like, you know, short poems, different concepts that were really cool to me. And we had to write a poem in the 10th grade class, which is where I wrote my very first like amateur poem. Like I don't really include it because it was for an assignment,
Right.
but it was where I'm from. So it was just talking about, you know, like heritage, what makes you you, the things that you love that kind of define your own personality.
Right.
And I wrote it and we had to perform it. And once I was done, I mean, I got a standing ovation from the class, and they were like, you need to keep doing this. And that was before I really had any purpose with it. That would come later, but that's where poetry became a thing for me.
Right. Yeah. That's the identity poem. That's the right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that. I'm familiar with that. Okay. Cool. Did you go right into it? Right? Did you, when you first wrote that poem and you were like, okay, this is something that I like, did you pause for a minute or did you just jump right in?
Well, I was still pretty heavily invested in band, and saxophone is where my musicianship and creativity started. So this is my 7th year playing saxophone. I started in 6th grade. So that was still where my main focus was, but I found it was a lot easier for me to express myself creatively through poetry than it was through saxophone because words just came so easily to me. So poetry became an emotional outlet. So it wasn't so much like sitting down like, oh, I want to write a poem. It's, oh, this is going on in my life, or this is something I want to just get on paper, and poetry was the final result. So it was almost immediate. As soon as I found that outlet, it just stuck.
Okay. You know, I can relate. I didn't express myself a lot when I was a kid, you know, and but when I found poetry, that was my outlet, right? Even to my parents, I would write poems to my parents to help me express myself. So I can definitely relate to that. Let me ask you, because you have band, you have saxophone, you have poetry, right? Where do you see your career going? Is it just artistry and you're going to use your gifts? You know, you're an entertainer. Tell me what that looks like to you.
That's kind of a question I occasionally ask myself because and I've actually had a few people be like, your platform is a little like confusing because I do so much. Like there's just so many different ways I like to express myself. And there's also a lot of things creatively that I feel like I'm good at and want to pursue. So it's poetry, it's rap, it's saxophone, it's activism, which is really the underlying theme of it all. And I mean, speaking, writing, it's all of it for me. So it kind of it can go in so many different ways, and none of them are ways that I want to shut down. So I know for a fact I'm absolutely staying in activism, whether or not that's creative or traditional. But I do like to entertain, and I got to perform on stage for the first time in December, and it was everything I thought it was going to be. I mean, looking back on it, I wasn't that pleased with the way I held the stage. I mean, I was nervous. It was my first time, but I'm literally looking for the next opportunity to go perform in front of people because I loved it. So I don't want to shut that down either. And but there's also, you know, the education side of my life. I'm going off to college, and I'm pursuing a very traditional degree, which, you know, whether it's like corporate or government, those are the kind of outlets that kind of education is going to lead me. So I'm not shutting that down either. So it's everything. So to say like where I think it's going to go, I think it's going to go everywhere. You know, I want to be an enterprise, you know, like the way Jay-Z did it. He started somewhere. He started with rap. He started on the ground level, and now he's in everything. He does everything, and he doesn't allow one side of his enterprise to outshine the other, or let anybody tell him that he needs to stick in one lane. Because honestly, in my opinion, branching out into other lanes after you've established yourself is the most successful way to create that generational wealth and to actually find your legacy. I mean, J. Cole did it. Obviously, Jay-Z did it. Beyonce did it. Rihanna did it. She has her makeup line and everything like that. It's the corporate, the entrepreneurial side of everything afterwards that gets you what you're looking for when you start. So that's where I'm going. It's everything. It's every lane that I can get my hands into.
Who inspired you?
Oh, that's a good question. Definitely J. Cole was like my big music inspiration.
Yeah.
I had, as soon as I discovered him, and it was in middle school, but I don't remember exactly when, but I think I started with For Your Eyes Only, which had just recently come out. And it was a concept project, and it was so deep and it was so conscious. He literally embodied the persona of one of his late friends who he knew, and he wrote songs from his perspective about his life while also adding his own commentary and some of his own songs from his own perspective, talking about his friends. So it was so layered and thought out. And from there, I went back to all his old discography, and then every time he dropped a new project, I was the first one on it. So Cole was absolutely my music experience and inspiration. And from there, it went way old school with like Nas. I just love his style and his voice. And then recently, I'm now understanding why Jay-Z is regarded as the like greatest rapper of all time. Because after listening to some of his full projects, I mean, he embodies like everything that rap is. You know, the start and the end. Obviously, where he's at, no one's done it like him. He's the most successful, the most entrepreneurial, and he paved the way. He's paving the way for me because that's now the route that I know that I want to go with the enterprising and everything. So those were definitely my music experiences and inspirations. I didn't so much have a poetry inspiration because of the way it was introduced to me. It was just in the classroom, really.
Right.
But since then, it's been, oh man, Brandon Leak. You know, we've connected a few times since our project, and he is just the greatest guy. Like, speaking to him, he cares so much about all the people that support him that he's willing to use his platform in a whole bunch of different ways just to, help them out. And it's small for him, letting people talk about their own brand on his Instagram live for a few minutes and plug their stuff, but it's so big for people who are just starting out like me. So I really appreciate him and Amanda Gorman, obviously, the inaugural poet who broke barriers, made history with her poem, first poet at the Super Bowl. I mean, she's real big. So yeah, those are my inspirations.
Okay. Now, close to you though, who inspired you, like in your family or in that vicinity?
Oh, my parents, easy. I mean, they've been here with me day one, and everything that I've tried to pursue, they've been right behind me. As long as they knew that I had a plan and that I was passionate about it, and it wasn't something that I was gonna give up on in X amount of weeks or months, they were all for it. And even things that I didn't want to do, that they knew that I probably should do or had to do. I mean, sometimes it was a little, rocky, because I don't want to do it. But a lot of times they break things down to, help me understand why it is that they feel I should do it and where it's going to get me. And a lot of that came with like summer camps because I wanted to sleep as kids did over the summer, in between school years, but they always had me in something. They didn't really let me just not use my brain or my talent for long periods of time. So it was really summer camps, computer science camps, robotics camps, and then finally this music camp that I stuck with, the Otis Music Camp here in Macon, that definitely changed my life. And that was, I think, between 8th grade and 9th grade, I want to say, that I started, and it was the best camp they could have found for me. So it's things like that that my parents have done for me. Then obviously funding all of the things that I've wanted to do, because things cost money, and they were
Right.
willing to, dish out that money because they knew it was something that I was really passionate about. So yeah, my parents, no doubt.
Jason and Stacy, tell me about you all support, right? The reason I asked it like that is because, we know parents support their children, right? But not always the artistic side. Our parents support the educational side, go, so I'm gonna pay for your school, even the sports, but not always the artistic side, especially when the child is saying, I want to pursue the artistic side. Why? Why are you all pushing so hard and staying with him in regards to his artistic career?
So, the typical boy child, right? Man, his son, it's all about sports. So we tried that early on with Chris. And I mean, we did soccer, we did baseball, we did football in early years. And it was very evident from day one that Chris was not going to be a sports person. He, when he was younger, he was into reading books. I don't know, one year, his whole Christmas list was books. So he's always been an avid reader. So we knew that he was more into academics and furthering his mind than sports. So when he picked up the saxophone in 6th grade and it came to him naturally, I mean, we were all on board because I was just a big proponent of him being involved in something. So since the sports thing didn't work out and then came band, we jumped on board with that, got him his first saxophone. And then in a year, he decided he didn't want to play tenor. He wanted
all the way around.
Yeah, he didn't want to play. He didn't want to play alto. He wanted to play tenor. And I'm like, so we need to buy another saxophone. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, we pushed back on that a little bit. So, but it was, you know, he's the only one. You know, we have one child, and so, you know, we bought the saxophone, another one, and I guess it just comes naturally to us. We don't really question if he's passionate about something. You know, we just kind of embrace it. We generally don't challenge him. I think he has the free will to pursue what he's interested in, and we're here if he needs support. But he's proven that he's very capable on his own. So we kind of let him, you know, we give him that freedom to do that.
Yeah. So Stacy finds all the interesting things that's going to make him better. So, and then I'm more like the one that gets it executed, make sure he gets to where he needs to be at, right? But then he's got to actually do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you have a pie and you kind of split it 3 ways, that's kind of how it is, right?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so she's the idea board. I'm the executioner that helps, or the one who executes to help him meet the demands of the schedule. But one of the things that I would say, I mean, Chris has, you know, he's really earned that freedom or that latitude that she's talking about. Yeah, really, at the end of the day, you know, he does it, and you know, and then the level to which he's doing some of these things, you know, it's kind of like, man, just stay out of his way. And you know, like I said this, and I don't even know if I've told you, Chris, but it's almost like at some point we just became almost like vessels for this kid, where you know, we're just helping him get to the next thing that he needs to get to. And it's kind of weird because I don't know when that happened, right? Because I mean, usually it's like, you know, parents are the ones that's
pushing the kid to
sort
do
of
something.
pushing. All of a sudden, the roles has turned into more like, you know, he's driving, and we're the vehicle to help him get to that next destination, and that's a nice thing because, like Stacey said, you know, he's an only child, so he's basically all of our energy, right? Everything that we've worked towards, it's pretty much in him. So yeah, I mean, that's sort of how I would kind of sum up our roles when it comes to him.
Yeah. And it's also very hard to argue with, you know, a kid that has maintained a 4.0 his entire school year. His entire school year, he's had a 4.0. So it's hard to argue when he comes and asks for something, or I want to do this, or it's going to cost this. We don't have a leg to stand on to say, no, you don't deserve it. So
yeah, kudos to you, Chris. I mean, again, it's an earning thing. I mean, you know, we think back, man, and it's like, well, you know, I had some B's and C's, you know.
Right. Right.
So,
right.
Chris is over here literally, you know, playing a perfect game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah. With that, it's like, all right, just get out of his way, and help him pursue the things he wants to pursue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you all pretty much have no choice. There's nothing more that you can ask for, you know, because back to the child wanting to pursue art, a lot of times they put all of their energy into their art and their school lags.
Yeah.
You know, and the parents are like, you're not going to, you know, play that whatever unless you get your grades right, or you're not going to play basketball unless your grades are right. but that's not even an element in this equation here.
Yeah, well, there were some threats along the way. I mean, he knew, you know what I'm saying? If the grades, grades were paramount. So, if those started to be compromised, then he knows that, hey, we were going to be pulling back. And so, so maybe halfway through the school year or something like that, we may see some grades and it's like, hey, what's up with this? You need to pull this up. Yeah. But it was weird because in Chris's case, it's like, you need to pull up this 96.
Hey, that 4.0 is slipping. What's going on?
I mean, so those type of things, or I remember one time.
Yeah, that's me. I was guilty. That was me.
It's like, hey, what are you doing with this 89?
Yeah, no, that was unacceptable. It was unacceptable.
Right. You set your own bar, Chris.
Yeah. I knew he could do better. So I knew there was something that was distracting him. So every now and again, we did have to get him back in line. And I was, we've always been very involved in his education. And, the schools that he went to, they had the capability where the parents could see the grades every time they come in. And, when it pops up on my phone, if it's something that should have been better, we're going to have a conversation about it. So it was always that underlining, you can do this, but your education comes first, always.
Yeah.
So.
Is college in the forecast?
Yes. I just, Friday? So 2 days ago, we just committed to Howard University.
Do I get the feature on the podcast?
Yep. I posted a picture, but this is the first interview where this is being announced. I've committed to Howard University. I'll be going for economics. So I'll be up at the Mecca in the fall, assuming that the campus is open.
I am. Yeah. We'll be doing some work.
Yep. I'll be right down the street.
Nice. Nice. Why Howard?
Oh man, I mean, they know that anytime they ask me why Howard, the list was mad long because I just, there was an emotional attachment, and then just the level of just academic prowess that Howard has and is able to deliver. One, for an HBCU, and two, for a school in general. They're on par with top universities. And just, the level of alumni that have come out of there. Obviously, the most notable right now is, VP Kamala Harris, the late Chadwick Boseman, and just a huge list of other people. And, legacy is something that obviously I hold pretty close to me. I mean, my name is prophecy, and those two kind of go hand in hand. I'm always thinking about, where can I insert myself into that's going to allow me to do X, Y, and Z, and allow me to meet A, B, and C and do this and that. Where's the perfect place to position myself at the perfect time? So from like a logistical standpoint, I figured, Howard now is like the perfect place to go as a young Black entrepreneur who's trying to fit himself in the center of activism and Black excellence. The school just put a vice president in office. Right. And if that doesn't bring traction to the school and open up a whole bunch of opportunities, I don't know what will. Right. And it's just a testament to the level of students and alumni that Howard can produce. So, and I even looked into their majors, how their majors were ranked, especially economics, since that's what I was going for. And it's just all there. It's and DC, the area I went. We visited earlier this year, and I just love cities. I really like being in cities because where I live, this is not a city. There's not big buildings. There's not a whole bunch of like stuff to do everywhere you turn. I really like that. So it just all came together for me, and I was like, Howard is where I want to be.
Nice. That's good to know, man. That's good to know. We can continue to do some work now in the physical. You know, we've been doing a whole lot of virtual. You know, but I'm excited. I'm excited to do some work with you, man. And no, Howard is definitely the gold standard, and especially in the HBCU world, you know, and beyond. So congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So you come down what, August or earlier?
I think, August, like mid-August is moving day or moving week.
Okay. Yep. Okay. All right, Mom and Dad, how y'all feeling?
I'm excited and sad. I know I'm gonna cry when we drive off and leave him. I already know that.
Right.
No shame in my game. I'm gonna cry.
Sure.
Because he's our one and only. So right. You know, we're excited for his next, you know, journey in his life, and then ours. You know, we'll be empty nesters. So that's a whole new thing. You know, for 18 years, we've had a common focus and all of our energy, and then now he's, you know, flying the nest, and it'll just be us. So yeah, I'm excited and sad at the same time. So,
sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm proud, man. I mean, we made him work for it too, man. Because you know, DC is not the cheapest of places. There are other great options between here and there. And but so he literally made a case, you know, for Howard. But yeah, I mean we're college educated. You know, we considered that pretty much automatic for Chris. So you know, I mean, we're just thankful, man. I mean, prayerful, thankful. You know, for the opportunity to have him really reach this point and then start, you know, that new embarkation, man. Just proud, man. Just proud. Was what I would say if we had to sum it up in one word. Yeah, I hope that I'm able to entertain my wife now that you know we had a common focus before. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
where did you all attend?
I started out in New York, upstate New York, and then I finished up at a local school here in Macon, a local community college, Macon State College. But then I got my master's from Auburn University. So.
Yeah, and same. Started out the same way. Went to one of the SUNY schools upstate New York, SUNY Morrisville, little 2-year agricultural type school, and then moved to Georgia, and then I went to Mercer University, so private school here in Macon. Yeah, and did my bachelor's there, and around the same time she was finishing up her master's, I was kind of like, well, you know, I may as well just.
He didn't want me to have one more degree than him.
Show me up, you know? So
yeah,
I just went ahead, knocked the masters out too, and yeah. So I don't know. I think this is probably it, or maybe this is what we'll do now. Now that we have extra time, go back to school.
Yeah.
You can get your doctorate now, both of you.
Never know.
Never know, right?
We have the time now. So
that's positive peer pressure right there. I love it. I love it. So let's get to the art, right? And the industry of it all. Chris, we were talking shortly about the process of entrepreneurship and artistry, right? And I was congratulating you on your T-shirt, and your clothing line or your merch, however you're presenting it, right? And you responded. It was a lot of work, but we made it happen. What did that work look like, right, to a 17-year-old?
Well, it was fun at the end of the day because it was my project, you know, it was my baby. So, starting, not even being a year into this, it's just been full steam ahead for me. Like every few months, I'm looking for something new and big to do. So in December, that was performing on stage for the first time. Earlier in the summer and fall, it was working with you because I was only Prophecy for maybe no more than 4 months when we started working. So that was big for me. That was my first big connection. I was like, man, I'm working with this poetry foundation out in Maryland. They got connects all over the US. That was that for me. And then now it's this merch. And the idea really started in February, and it was just because we had a school break, and I was like, what am I about to do for this week? And anytime I had breaks, I focused on my passion and creating. So I think it was just kind of a random comment that one of my parents made. I think it was my mom. She was like, you should design that merch, because in December I was talking to my mentor, Vincent Muhammad, about what I wanted to do in this next year. I was manifesting it for myself, and merch was one of those things. And my mom was like, you should work on your merch. I was like, and that's exactly what I'll do. So by the end of that week, I had my first draft of the merch done, and it was to the point where that was the design that I printed on one hoodie that I have just in my closet, and that was going to be the design. Like, I was really done. And then I remember talking with my mentor a few months later, probably about a month ago from now, and he was like, well, what does it say? Because I was asking him to check it out. And I was like, oh, it says Prophecy. It's in this nice little cursive text, has a crown on it. And just that question made me think, what can I do to this just apparel to make it relatable? Why would someone want to wear it outside of just supporting me? So I thought about it, and I was like, okay, well, what if I add like a slogan? So I started looking up famous slogans like that really did something to people, like Nike, just do it. That's obviously like the biggest one. You can see one or the other and know what it represents. Just do it is such a motivational thing now. Just go out, do what you want to do. So I was like, well, let me think back to just the word prophecy, destiny, legacy, fulfilling it for yourself. And I was like, okay, prophecy, define yours. Define your prophecy, define your legacy. Set in stone what you want to happen for your life. So I played around with a whole bunch of designs, and I finally settled on the one that I settled with. And now it's prophecy, define yours. And it just stuck for me. And I mean, people liked it, and it's been successful. And there were many nights where I just I couldn't sleep. I'm like, this design is not how I want it yet. I was so OCD about it. Some of the drafts, I think I had somewhere around like 24, and some of them were so discreetly changed that it was literally just one down arrow apart with the text highlighted, because I wanted it in the perfect position so that it looked completely symmetrical no matter how you looked at it, and it made sense. And that was 2-3 in the morning sometimes, because I didn't allow myself to sleep until I got it done and I felt satisfied. But it was never draining, and it was never really frustrating or to the point where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to be done. I just want to put it out. It was fun because I knew I was creating something that was representing me and what I felt passionate about, and creating a way to connect with the people that are supporting me, and hopefully, giving them the inspiration and motivation to go do what they know that they want to do, defining their prophecy. And that was the journey for this.
Well, I smirked often because I see you and myself You know, this stuff is like not work, right? It is.
Right.
It's hard work that is fulfilling and rewarding.
Right.
You know, and because you know it's just like another addition to you know, what's being added to your career, your legacy, your prophecy, right? So but also but what made you think, all right, I need some merch, you know, like I need, was it for others, or was it for you, as in I need to be wearing my brand, you know, for recognition when I'm out?
Right.
Was it for you or for others, or both?
It was a few different reasons. A lot of it was just the excitement of being a new artist and a new creator. You know, I wanted to make statements, and I wanted to keep doing big things and keeping the ball rolling, because I didn't want to wait for certain things to be concrete, and then, you know, set this foundation over here, and then, well, maybe I feel comfortable going in this lane. I wanted to start everything that I knew I was capable of doing at the same time, and then grow it all together, because then I had a multi-platform, and there were so many different things that people could recognize me for and support. So I was like, merch is so cool. Like, people love merch. A lot of people love that physical connection to the people that they support if they really support you. So that was one reason, and I felt like I needed a way to like monetize my craft, because everything I do is on Instagram. So there's no money attached to that. And if I wanted to think smart, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to be home forever. Obviously, I'm going off very soon. And I wanted to kind of start creating these outlets to be able to fund myself and not be in a position where I have to stall too much because the money isn't right. So that was another reason. And I mean, it was really for me, because it, to me, is so cool to just have merch. Like, I'm wearing my creation to go wherever I want, and there are other people who are willing to wear my name on their chest and go out and be proud of it. And that to me, it's so fulfilling, it's so rewarding, and I'm just so grateful to be able to do it. So it was just worth it for me.
Chris, you're ahead of the game, man.
I appreciate
far ahead of the game. I know, and you know, poets that are older, have been in the industry for years upon years, and haven't thought of a website, haven't thought of a t-shirt to put their lyrics on. They're amazing poets, amazing artists, but have not thought the way you're thinking.
Right.
You know, so just know, you know, and I know that's why I say I see myself in you. Sometimes you have to step outside of yourself to say, man, I am actually doing some big things.
Right.
You know, because in our head, it's like, this is what I do.
Yeah,
you know?
it's definitely like a mental thing. You know, being able to recognize yourself and congratulate yourself, because it's very easy to get lost in the things you do. And I remember I created a video thanking my followers on Instagram for 500 followers, and some people were like, "Why are you doing that? Like, what does that matter? It's only 500 followers." Because, you know, I mean, people with regular Instagram accounts who have been on there since 2012, you know, they got 1,000, 2,000 followers. That's nothing to them.
Right.
But to me, I didn't start this for recreation. Like, my Instagram isn't just pictures of me being out at lunch or whatever people do for recreation. It was a platform to speak on such important things, both to me and to the world. And the creations that I've been able to put on that platform and the support I've been able to gain, every authentic follower means something to me. And I know like 35 of those are like them Forex traders that they're just fake accounts and whatever, but the numbers are the numbers. And I work with the numbers. And 500, I think about that practically, it's like half my school deciding that they want to turn around and look at me and listen to what I say for what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that means something to me. And regardless of the perspective of if Kevin Hart has millions of followers and if Brandon Leak is verified, kudos to them. And that's exactly what they deserve for the work that they put in. But I also deserve to feel good about my 500 followers because those are 500 followers that I earned. So it's, it's really a mental thing. So I definitely had to learn to step into different sides of myself and, not get too arrogant about 500 followers, but also be humble for what I was given and to also, just continue what I'm doing because I enjoy it and because it's helping other people along the way. And that's all I can ask for.
Sure. Mom and Dad, the entrepreneurship mind, where did he find that? Where did he get that?
So that was what, 8th grade? 7th grade?
I think it started in 7th grade.
7th grade. Yeah, 7th grade, because, I'm the ideas person, right? So I stumbled upon, I really can't remember how I learned about it, but the city that we live in, they were starting their first Young Entrepreneurship Academy. They were looking for their inaugural class. And I'm like, Chris, you're going to do this. So it was just one of those things where he's like, yeah, I don't want to do this. Like, well, you're going to do it. And we're going to get you there every afternoon. And so he had to interview for it. And I took him to the interview and he did great. He was accepted into the program. And I forgot how many weeks the program ran, but they pretty much had to come up with a business idea, do a business plan, pitch their business to investors, get funding, start the business, put on a trade show. So all of that he did at, I don't know, how old?
What's 7th grade, 12?
I was 12, 13.
Yeah. So he gained a lot of that entrepreneur, like the back end of it, like what it takes to start a business. He's had that foundation for quite some time. And, it came into play this time with the website. And I worked with him, setting up pricing and, teaching him, counting is my world. So I worked with him with setting his pricing and figuring out sales tax and margins and all of that, and just making sure at the end of the day he's profitable. So, he's had the foundation to be an entrepreneur because technically he did start a business at 12 and produced a product and sold it, sold that product.
What was it?
It was, so the business was called Khalil School Creations, LLC. So, essentially what it was a multi-purpose binder, that had a protractor, a hole puncher, calculator. I think we put paper in there too. I want to say we put paper in there too. And the outside was coated in
chalk paint.
Yeah. And we gave them a chalk marker, so it became customizable. So everyone could have, their own custom binder it was durable. It had the basic set of things that you needed for, up to like 6th grade and a little bit beyond. You could use everything in there and really not need anything else. And it was affordable for what it had in it, and that was the product. So we spent however many hours a week, creating binders in the garage and in the front and backyard, spraying them down and letting them dry, and then prepping them inside with sticking everything with Velcro so it would stay. And that was my idea that we worked with for, I think it was less than a year, but somewhere around like 8 months maybe. And yeah, honestly, probably about the same time frame that since Prophecy has started to now is probably about the same amount of time that program was. And at the end of it, they had us all up on a stage in this little like conference center at the school in front of real investors who were about to give us real money for our businesses. And we had to come up with our pitch. And I had my notes, I had my flashcards, I had a PowerPoint slideshow that I had made specifically for that. And we all pitched it. And do y'all remember how much money I got? I don't remember.
I'm not sure. I think it was like $1,000 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Because he wasn't asking for a lot, because I mean it's binders and calculators and stuff. So some of the other businesses needed more funding, but his business, I think it got most of the funding that he asked for.
Yeah, and that's really where it started. I mean, I was learning about the difference between revenue and profit and how to maximize your profit margin and the best ways to interact with investors that you wanted something from. Eye contact, shaking hands. We had business cards that we printed. We designed a logo. We went through the legal process of making this a limited liability company through the state of Georgia. It was the full 9 yards. And I mean, yeah, a lot of that has stuck with me. Now I remember a lot of the things that they taught me, and I use that, day to day to keep growing. But what is now my brand?
Wow. You literally made a better version of the Trapper Keeper.
Yeah.
And funny thing is, you probably haven't even heard of that.
We told him about
name only.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
It was
just getting you're like the Renaissance teen, because the more and more we talk, it's just more. I can't take it all, man. But I'm excited. I'm excited about your future, short term and long term, because August is like here, bro. August, once summer hits, the year is over. You know what I mean? So what's the preparation life looking like right now? I know it's spring, summertime, but like you getting ready for college. So what are you all doing to prepare?
I mean, really, we're pretty transitional right now. I mean, with having just committed Friday, kind of just enjoying the lack of stress from having to choose between colleges. But I'm sure that prep stage will come pretty soon. I know I'm ready to graduate and go to college. So that's my prep. I'm getting mentally prepared to, go off to a city I've never lived in with no one that I really know on campus, and just, throwing myself into this new life and, making the best of it. I know for a fact I'm about to make the campus my business playground. Like there's so many amazing people that are going there, even in my upcoming class, that are doing some huge things. I know an American Idol singer, I can't remember her name right now, but she's in my grade, and she's coming into Howard with me and the rest of our class. Like the caliber of student that's about to be at Howard is about to be insane. And I'm about to use every opportunity to make the best of that and make some of the best connections that I will probably ever make, to be completely optimistic with you. So yeah, that's my prep.
So mom and dad, your schools, were they HBCUs? No? Yes?
No.
Okay.
No.
So Have you all had the talk yet as far as, HBCUs and HBCU life, or do I need to have that conversation?
So, my brother-in-law is a HBCU graduate, so he is. I mean, if you ask him, he went to the real HU. He went to
Hampton.
Yeah.
So there's already this family rival going on.
I see.
Between
I was next door at Norfolk State.
Between him and so Chris, I think he's been a huge influence on Chris wanting to go to an HBCU.
Awesome.
He shared a lot of his experience and how rewarding it was. So, yeah.
Just
we're ready for the homecoming, and we're there. We're ready.
Pep rallies on Fridays, and you looking out the window of your classroom like,
And maybe in a little way we'll have a chance to kind of live through Chris since we didn't have a chance to go there. But no, so I mean, we gave him the tools. That's what I tell him, man. It's like, he already has the tools, so there'll be a lot of stuff going on in the media area. And then of course maybe just maybe more locally in the DC area. But he's got the tools, man. If he wants to continue to do the things he's doing, he knows there'll be sacrifice. Focus harder than ever to sort of stay out of the fray. And even not involve themselves in those things that compromise the brand, right? Because again, the brand. So you gotta protect it. So and he reminds me of that. We just had a conversation about a comment I made the other day, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I gotta protect the brand." So I think maybe that's another dimension to all of this. So opportunity, but also
accountability.
Accountability, yeah. Maybe that's a good way to put it. Opportunity and accountability to the brand.
Yeah, I mean, I put a lot of stress on myself to uphold this reputation and to keep adding new things into my life and doing it all at the same time. And I keep doing it because I personally believe in my own ability to keep evolving and adding these things to my life and understanding the constituents that come with that, the things that I'll have to stay out of, and the lanes I should probably stick closer to if I want to maintain this clean brand. And obviously some things will change, just becoming an adult. Things obviously change between being a minor and being an adult, but not doing anything obviously illegal, and just staying out of campus trouble and sticking true to what I know are my beliefs and not straying too far away from that because of distractions, and that's in whatever form that it is, whatever's going on in the world, whatever's going on campus. Maybe it's specific people in my life that are starting to throw off this balance that I have. I understand that these are the roles that I've set for myself, and I'm okay with that because it's at the end of the day it's what I set for myself. So at any point I can decide to adjust and just do what's best for me at the end of the day, because I mean this is mine.
You all said 3 words, man. Protect the brand. That's huge because it signifies it is bigger than you, right?
Yeah.
Most college students go to college and it's them. It's my life. I'm out. Hey, we gonna figure it out. But you're not going anywhere else as an individual. That's out the picture now. You're going as a brand, an entity, a company, and that's how you have to act accordingly. That's amazing, man. And it's a lot to handle. But you've been groomed, right? You've been raised up. I can tell, like, with standards and examples for you then to become an example, right? So man, I'm not worried, I'm here, you know what I mean? So I got your Walmart runs. Hit me up, man. I got you.
I'll remember that.
I got you, man, for sure. No, seriously, you here, so you will be here. So it's more than just let's do some poetry work. You know what I mean? Let's do some work. So mom and dad, don't worry. You know what I mean? You got somebody on this end, and yeah, for sure. I'm excited for so many reasons right now. So many reasons I didn't even know I was excited about now, because you are just throwing stuff in here, man. 4.0s and entrepreneurship academies at 12. I'm like, gracious, man. You
were throwing a football.
Like, I'm telling you, but I'm excited for you two, because you all are like the transition of parents. Before you all, it was the parents that supported, but it was more so supported from afar, and their artistic, when I say the child's artistic aspirations in the eyes of the parents was a hobby. Not, parents didn't see it as a possible career, so kudos to you all for really taking his passions serious. Like really know that that's rare. So
we weren't doing what we were supposed to do.
Yeah, that is what you were supposed to do. So I raise my hand to you and thank you for taking that charge, because this episode is going to be great for young people, folks my age, but also older people, just parents in general, for them to understand, if I haven't done it now, I need to call my son, my daughter, and say, hey, what do you need when it comes to that thing that you're pursuing? Like do that tonight. I'm talking to parents. I don't care if the child is 27 and they're trying to get something off the ground. Like, call them right now and say, how much do you need? Tell me what your plan is. And because trust me, if you haven't done it yet, the child is like, loves his parents, loves her parents, but wished that the parents took more ownership and a supportive role in the pursuit of that passion that he or she is pursuing. So good stuff. All right. So the brand. Okay, cool. All right. Now that I know you're coming this way, man, that's good stuff, man. That's cool. That's good stuff. Howard University. So economics. Is that because you want to know more about just, obviously economics, but entrepreneurship, and be prepared for where you're going?
You are the first person to guess that and be completely right. That is essentially exactly why I chose that major. Because I knew I had the entrepreneurial background. I knew I had the creativity. It was always there. The creativity has always been there for me. but I needed to know how to execute. And the lane that I see most people struggle with is finances and the economy. You can get it, but can you hold it? And can you hold it in a way that isn't going to work for you? So economics is exactly that. It's understanding, one, the economy in macro, understanding how things fluctuate, being ahead of the game if you can get to the level where you understand what you're seeing. And even the micro level on a small business level. And in that degree, there's also things like finance and calculus. Like there's so much in there that is such valuable information to have, and it's information that not everyone does have. So outside of my brand, outside of any venture I might be taking, this is still knowledge that people could come to me for because I know it and they don't. And that makes me valuable. And in my mind, that makes me an asset to my community. Because if I have knowledge that others don't have, then it's then my responsibility to give back. And that's exactly what I want to do. So it's a good major for me and the direction that I'm trying to go. So hopefully it is everything that I think it is and everything that I've seen that it teaches, and it's going to give me the rest of the tools that I need to continue what I'm doing.
It'll be what you make it. However it's presented to you, right? Even if it's not as you thought it would be, and this, that, and third, it's what you make it, right?
Right.
And I applaud the strategy. It's a great strategy, even outside of starting a business and being a brand, being an artist. That's definitely going to enhance all of that, but just life. And I'm 38 and I'm just getting to it when it comes to, economics and credit and all of that. So
right,
for you to formally get it at 18, major, just look at the artists, look at the sports players.
Yeah.
When they stop, when they break their ankle, whatever it is, right? When they can't make another hit song, it's a wrap.
Yeah, it's gone. And that's never a position that I want to find myself in. And I feel like it's avoidable should I go, the right routes of understanding it. Because there's so many like sad songs in relation to how many people just they get it and they're gone just as fast because they spend it on whatever, and it's not anything that builds income. It's something like a car or a house, and it's not paid off. So once they lose the money, then they lose everything that they bought because it's not even theirs yet. That's not what I want to find myself in. So I'm making sure I take those steps, because at the end of the day, there are also other people I want to support. Once I get older, I obviously want to be able to send checks back to my parents, and I want to be able to start a family and and provide for my family in the right ways, and not have to rely on anybody else to help me make my ends meet. So it's all a vision.
That's so good. That's so good. That's so good. So, man, there's so many ways that we can kind of end this episode. I just don't want to. I'm serious. Because to have the dynamic of the teenager and the parent, and to speak to both of you at the same time is valuable, and to have that dialogue and get both of your perspectives on this artistry, the industry, and the trajectory of Chris's career is just amazing, and it's going to be awesome to watch, right? So everybody watching, go follow him on Instagram, and follow his journey. You've got the backstory, right? You know where he is right now, and you know where he's going because it's clear, and that's rare. That's the crazy part. That's rare for a 17, 18-year-old student to know where he's going, right? And know why he chose his I forgot the name of it. What is it called? I've been out of college for so long.
Undergraduate?
Your major. Jesus.
Yeah.
Lord. Yeah, I graduated in 2006. So but to know why you chose your major. I chose my major because I knew it was money in it. Like computers. That was it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, I knew I would have a good job. Just the extent of it. You know? So to really know and tie what you're doing right now and why you chose that major and how it's going to benefit what you're doing right now. It's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Let me give you a suggestion, Prophecy.
Yeah, go ahead.
I suggest that you, if you haven't already started, start a YouTube channel. Start a YouTube channel because I'm learning it's important to document your process.
Right.
It is very important to document your process because you don't have to give examples. You can become the example through your life. And you're brand new. That's the crazy part. So you're at the beginning. You're at the beginning of your journey. So it's a perfect time. It's a perfect time to start the documentation because you're writing your book and it will already be written. You don't have to reminisce and think back and all of this other stuff because you've been documenting it
right
from the beginning. You know, I have to think. I started writing poetry in first grade, so I half of it I forgot. You know, like just think about it. Like, you know, I don't know how old are you? 6. So 32 years of just life. You right at the beginning of it, man. You know, and it's perfect for your life, but it's perfect for your brand. You know, so that's a suggestion, man. Even if you don't start a YouTube channel, still journal, right? And still document.
Yeah, I actually have had the channel. The channel is made. There's just no videos on it. I knew that YouTube was another outlet that I wanted to go.
Sure.
But it kind of just like fell out of my mind. But it's definitely not off the table. It's never been off the table.
Sure.
Sure. I
got
100%
ways for
agree.
you to make that easier for you because I know the editing and all of this stuff is a lot.
Yeah.
But I got ways for you to just make that easier to where you can just focus on. And really, you don't have to make episodes and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, sit the camera up and talk. You know.
Yeah.
You know, just talk it out. You know what I mean? Because you'll inspire so many people. But in the meantime, you'll be growing your following.
Right.
You see? Yeah. So keep working, man. Keep working. I don't really have to say that because you're gonna do it anyway. On a high level. Chris, do you have any questions for me, man? This is the first time I ever asked that question. Do you have any questions for me on this podcast about anything?
Questions, I wouldn't say but like I really like this platform that you have going. You know, the attention that you give the poetry community and the poetry industry, and your mission that you make sure to include in everything that you do, it's inspirational. And I completely see why poets who avidly follow this platform are so inspired by it, because you provide so many different perspectives of the craft and so many different ways to go about it, and so many people that you invite onto this podcast that have done it so many different ways in tandem with other stuff, starting at different points, and you kind of show everybody watching that there's so many ways to do it, and there's no right way to do it, because the right way to do it is the way you feel like you're best at.
Right.
And it's worthy of applause. So like, me, on behalf of everyone else who's watching and everyone who's been on here, like, thank you for doing this. It means so much to everyone.
Sure. I appreciate that, man. That means a lot to me. You know, it's I don't do this for myself. You know, I did it. I'm doing it for my past self that was looking for something like this. You know, literally Googling, like, how do I start a poetry career? And all you get is, you know, write a poem for somebody, you know, hope they pay you, or perform. It was only two things.
Yeah.
That's all, you know? And so all the poet life is an example. And that's why there's a reason why it's Poet Life Everything, because I'm just making a list of the many things that you can do with poetry, podcast, gear, academy. Like, you know, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that recognition. And the biggest thing that I would tell you and is to make yourself and your brand a resource. If you make yourself and your brand a resource, you'll always be of value, right?
I agree. Yeah.
And people will always come to you because they'll need what you have to offer.
Right.
Right? Like, we're not just talking poetry. You know what I mean? Like, we're giving knowledge, we're giving value. And so in turn, we've become a resource that now and in the future they'll need.
Right.
Become a resource. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna leave you. Mom and dad, Jason and Stacy. All right, cool. He's going to college in August. What would you leave him verbally to inspire? Well, you always do it. But for us, you know, he gets it all the time. But what would you say to him to keep him on the right track, keep him inspired? You know, what would you leave him?
Wow, that's a tough question. Well, I mean, the first thing that sort of comes to mind is most things that are sort of worth pursuing, or I guess the goal, sort of requires a long, lengthy journey, right? So, you know, and along the way, I mean, certainly he's going to be faced with disappointment. And I mean, I would just say to him and really to anybody who's listening, to expect there will be disappointment. It's going to happen. But, you know, the word is grit, man. You got to have grit. You got to keep pushing. And sooner or later, you're going to find the thing that you're looking for. So recognize the long walk. Be prepared for the walk. Overcome the obstacles through grit. And just know that better days are ahead. The goal is attainable. So that's really what I would say to him and anybody who's listening tonight.
For me, I agree with all of that. It's things that, I've had to tell him in the past as well, that there's going to be adversities and he's going to hear no, at points where he thought it was a definite yes. And allow yourself that moment to be sad, but don't let it throw you off course. Stay focused. And at the end of the day, he knows that we're his number one fans. And if he doesn't have the 500 or 5,000, he'll always have at least two followers. And at times that's going to have to be enough. And that's all he needs to pick himself up and to keep going on, because we'll always be there for him.
I'll leave you with this, Chris. Enjoy that long journey. Enjoy it, right? Because don't wait for hindsight, right? I know earlier in the episode, you were like, at the end of the day, it was fun, like, right? And I know during is stressful and all of that, but find the fun in it.
Right.
Find the fun in it, because it really isn't about the destination. It's about the journey,
Yeah.
So I will say that. And come on to DC, man.
I'm on my way. Don't worry. I'm on my way.
DC. Yes, indeed. And that's indeed. And mom and dad, you now have a reason. Do you all have family here at all?
Close by, just on the VA side of things.
Northern Virginia or like the 7 cities?
I guess that's Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about a 45-minute ride into DC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. You good. You're good.
Yeah.
We'll be out there.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, when you all come down, let's link up. Let's link up. I'm not going to, monopolize all your time. I know you got a whole lot. We're getting them. Are you going to be on campus or are you going to be off?
I will be on campus should they open up. Right now they're still in conversation about whether or not they open up. But I mean, by August, I feel like they'll be confident, or at least now looking at August, they'll be confident that it'll be okay to open up. So I should be up there in August.
Gotcha. Are they virtual right now?
I don't think they've gone back to campus. I want to say they're still virtual.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Well, folks, it's the Poet Life Podcast. As you can tell, I enjoyed myself. I don't know about whoever's listening or watching, but I enjoyed myself because I saw and I see myself in Chris, and we have the same name almost. He's Christopher, but I'm Christoph, but all is well. And it's going to be fun to see the journey. It's going to be fun to see the journey, man. And so everybody go follow the _real_ prophecy with the X, not an O. What was that tagline? You said
define your, hold on.
Was it
I got it on me. Come on.
There you go. Show the shirt.
Yeah.
Nice.
Prophecy define your. At prophecy.com, spelled the same way, PRXPHECY.com. You can get yours. It's up. We have new stuff coming in the future that I won't reveal, but I will let be known that there is more coming. So follow the journey.
Yeah. Let me ask you, was prophecy with was it available with the X alone?
Yeah, it was available. So it's just prophecy.com, no extra.
Not the domain, but on IG. Was that available? Do you know?
Ooh, I don't think it was at the time, but I've been thinking about going back and looking if I could, because you can't change your Instagram tag now. So really? I'm actually gonna, you can change not just the name, but the actual tag. So I'm gonna look to see if that availability has opened up, because if it has, then I can change that in however long, and it'll be so much easier to find.
There you go. So you already know what's make it Prophecy across the board, Twitter, everything, so it's easier to find you. If artists and poets could understand that, they would grow a lot faster and look a whole lot more professional. Yes. Let me close this off because I'll keep on going. It's the Poet Life Podcast. If you need more information about everything that we have going on, go to thepoetlife.com. But also, if you want some Poet Life gear, go to poetlifegear.com and copy some. You can be the brand. You can, when I say the brand, I mean your brand, right? It's not necessarily about the Poet Life in general. It is about you being a walking billboard telling folks that you're a poet, right? You have to ask yourself, who knows you're a poet? And I really want to get that across even to you, Chris. And that's another reason why I say congratulations on your t-shirt line, because it's a conversation starter, right? Yes. So if you're a poet, show it. It's the Poet Life Podcast. Thank you, Jason and Stacy Timothy. Thank you, Prophecy. You all have a good night.
You too.
Pleasure was ours, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Introducing the Poet Life Podcast. Go check it out today on your favorite platforms, including iTunes, Apple Music, and the website, thepoetlife.com.
Find a way, find a way. Ain't got no time now. You in the way, I'm doing fine now. Out of my business. Find a way, find a way.